guys, welcome to our Dogs of War Gaming YouTube channel. My name is Jesus.
This is Angelo.
We got here game 2 of first round of our Netrunner tournament with Mike to your left playing Chaos Theory, and Josh to the right playing MBN.
You know, I gotta say, Chaos Theory is probably one of my favorite runners in the game, simply from a fluff standpoint. You know, she's this little girl who's got this cute dinosaurs computer, and we've seen a lot of cards come out that, you know, kind of tell that story about what Dinosaurus is, and, you know, the way MBN's kind of directly involved with, you know, the production of Dinosaurus. And then, as we know, upcoming and upstock, we have a card that makes Dinosaurus very sad.
Yeah. Have you seen that YouTube video of the guy made a story with all the cards?
The story arc with Dinosaurus. And
that was pretty cool.
You know, and in my opinion, actually, it's probably one of the best consoles in the game, especially for Shapers. You know, a lot of people will say, not Doppelganger, but the other one from Criminal, the one that gets
Desperado.
Desperado is probably the best console in the game. But that's only from an economy standpoint. What you get out of Dinosaurus is just fantastic, you know? And I don't know if Tree's running Dinosaurus in this deck. I could assume that he is, but we'll see if he ends up dropping that on the board. His decks can tend to be a little...
I don't think he's running it.
Less than mainstream. Sure. He may be running Desperado. You never know.
Yeah. He's a very aggressive player.
He is a huge fan of Chaos Theory, though. He loves that 40-card deck size. And Josh is a brutal MBN player.
Ooh, leaving R&D open. Now in the HQ.
Mm-hmm. Which, you know, against a Shaper player, you maybe are okay doing first turn. And in this case, where you're not. But you have to notice, this isn't that bad. He's got economy on the board that unless Tree goes and runs and trashes, which maybe we'll see him do, it's not going to be that bad. But as a Shaper player, I seriously doubt Tree's going to float those tags. Unless you're really playing a Tag Me deck, which most Shapers don't, you're just not going to see that happen.
It's nowadays, man, you have to assume the runner is splashing Account Siphon. You have to. It's
true.
Account Siphon is such a powerful card that you have to assume it.
And you know, the interesting thing about Account Siphon is it's a very controlling style card. But now you just see maybe why Josh was okay letting that Account Siphon go. I mean, he's got a Scorch in his hand already. And this is one of my best moves in the game. Putting a Data Raven over R&D will turn any player away until they are ready to start taking tags. Because, I mean, you can't even get around the initial tag. It's either jack out or take a tag. You can't break it to get around it. It's just there. And almost every runner will jack out the moment they hit that.
They're not prepared for it.
So here you can see Tree's shaking those tags. Oh, no, he's not.
No, he went ahead and did.
Did he?
Yeah, he shaked it last time.
Oh, okay. I thought those were his tag markers sitting there next to his card. I guess those are just click trackers. But I mean, it's so fantastic because, you know, Data Raven's not even end the run ice, but it's a 4-cost. I'm going to tag you twice with it if you want to try to get through this without a breaker. And, man, it just works so well.
Yeah. So Tree's moneying up. 2 short gambles. So Josh looks like he's playing a Tag and Bag MBN.
Which is a really powerful archetype right now. It really is.
Oh, there's a C-Source.
And see, C-Source is something I don't actually agree with in this particular style of MBN. I think mid-seasons is a much better play. It opens up other avenues for you to win as the MBN player if the runner starts dropping things like Plasticrete on the board. Because hitting that mid-seasons and dropping 8 to 10 tags on the runner and then having access to Psychographics and a Project Beal can just close out games so well if you can't burn them down.
So setting up a scoring server, looks like.
Oh, there's Dinosaurus.
Oh, never mind. I was wrong. He does play Dinosaurus. The cute little dino.
So now the question is, what's he going to install on top of it? He's got a Fem in his hand and a Corroder. And it looks like he's got a... Is that a Levy in his hand as well?
Oh, Fem, the Data Raven. Wouldn't be that bad idea.
Yeah, actually, because the Fem would actually bypass the when encountered on the Data Raven, so you could actually get through.
Oh,
but no.
There you go.
See, even then, though, you're still going to take that tag, which is the brutal part about this.
He didn't run. No.
So, yeah, in that case, I would almost say the Fem's a better option there. Because if nothing else, it's taxing, right? Because you're costing the runner a click and 2 credits on top of the run to shake the tag every time he goes through that ice. So here you see Tree drawing some more cards. He's obviously digging for something. Yep, there you go, Magnum Opus. you know, Magnum Opus and Sure Gamble really should be the only econ you need in a Shaper deck. We can see Tree's also running Dirty Laundry, which, yeah, there's different schools of thought on if you're running Magnum Opus, do you really need to include anything other than itself and Sure Gamble? I'm a big fan of that school of thought. You know, one turn clicking Magnum Opus is a fantastic amount of credits, and you can usually survive off that for a couple of turns. And it leaves more room in your deck for other
Magnum Opus is very good.
Other cards.
So we got Josh thinking. So, what are your thoughts right now? Oh, yeah, protecting R&D.
So, I really don't think Josh is running your typical fast advanced deck for me, and I really do think this is going to be I'm going to try and find a way to kill you kind of style deck. He doesn't look to be trying to fast advance anything right now. He's just installing a ton of ice, and he's not rezzing, as you've seen.
Well, Treat is smart, man. He doesn't want to stay behind on the economy. Because he knows that Josh has a C-Source and has a Scorched Earth already in his hand.
Exactly.
And he hasn't found his Plague, so he wants to make sure he keeps his money more than the MBM player, so he can't, just lose the game.
But, as the MBM player, that works in your advantage, too, because now he's not installing breakers. Now he's not, making runs and things like that. So you actually have that time window you need to either dig for your combo pieces or, in this case, set up some more economy of your own. Oh, here we go. So now we see Gordian Blade and Corroder both hit the board.
Oh, yeah, his suite out.
He had to. You see he wants to get rid of that econ asset down there, so he installed both of them because without knowing what that piece of ice is, you really don't have a choice. But he's set. Now, now you spend 2 turns clicking Magnum Opus, you grab some credits, and then you just start running. He's going to have to eat that tag if he wants to hit R&D. Or at this point, the hard part for Josh is now no remote is actually safe now. With all 3 breakers on the board, it's a dollar game at this point.
Yeah.
So now we can see a C-Source. So this is interesting. Tree is a little poor because of what he did, so maybe this is the right time to drop that C-Source on the board. And yep, there you go. You stick him with the tag. So now he's taking 2 more. Yep. Then he closes his accounts. And this is a good play. Now you've got 3 tags on you. You're broke. And as the corp, you still have credits left over. Not a lot, but you have some. Unfortunately, though, Magnum Opus makes getting rid of tags very easy. Especially even if you're going from broke to dollars.
Still only has 4 cards. Ooh.
Well, 4 cards is fine. You can see Josh doesn't have enough credits to double Scorch. So Tree knows that if he's sitting at 4 cards, it's fine. Even at 5 cards, 3 cards, you're fine. The moment that the corp hits 6 credits, though, that's when you're starting to think, okay, when's that double Scorch coming?
Normally, like, his 6 tags would be enough to drown the runner. But like you said, with Magnum Opus, makes it a lot more easier to...
Yeah, because you're talking a click and 2 credits to drop a tag, but then you're clicking Magnum Opus for 2 credits, so you can be broke and still clear 2 tags a turn. And that's just fantastic. So you can tell, I think Josh is trying to figure out how he's going to get himself out of this now. Unfortunately, MBN doesn't have a lot of, destroying installed icebreaker ice and things of that nature. The best you could hope for is that he's got a toll booth somewhere there, but he can't afford to res it right now. I know he's playing with Flare, but...
card... he got back the big brother.
Yep. Throw some more tags. I think at this point, he's just trying to tax Tree. Slow him down, don't let him make runs. Keep popping those tags on him because he knows that Scorched Earth is in hand. And just force Tree to consistently keep clearing those tags out. But you can tell he's digging for something. I don't know what he's digging for, but you can tell he's digging for something.
Hey, if you could get a second Scorch and maybe... I'm assuming he's digging for a second Scorch and
he's looking
Sweep
for
Week.
Yeah, I think he's looking for a Sweep Week, maybe a Hedge Fund, and then his other Scorch, so he can get enough credits in play to actually, blast Tree with it. But I think what you'll see is the moment he hits 4, 5, 6 credits or whatever, Tree's going to start drawing up and start making runs again.
Yeah, once Tree clears that tag, he's back in business. I still think his next turn is going to be clearing his tag and getting 2 credits.
It will be. He needs to credit back up before he can do anything anyways, so... Oh, there you go. So, I actually like this play. A lot of people don't agree with Scorching when you can't kill the runner, but I think when you're in a situation like this, it's a massive tempo swing, You know he's going to clear that tag, and you know you're going to have a hard time getting it back on him. So go ahead. You know, scorch him, make him discard his entire hand. You noticed he got rid of a Diesel, which is just fantastic.
And the Levy.
Yep. So, you know, it kind of puts you back on an even field now. So now he can install that. You know, it's going to be not impossible for Tree to get in there to get that. But again, you know, if he's just planning on taxing him every turn, this is a fantastic way to do it. You know, he's begging Tree to make a run. And if he doesn't run, he's going to get some credits.
Yeah. But I think that play should have been done like a turn before. Instead of getting the big brother, just scorching him and keeping the archive memories to bring the scorch back.
Yeah, maybe he was digging for something else and he just didn't find it, so he decided it was time.
Here's Tree keeping the economy out.
So I think you res here simply because, you know, he is out-econing you, but at the same time, trying to keep him low is still beneficial for you.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know what's there, but...
Yeah, I mean, maybe he just can't afford to res it.
Excuse me.
But you can tell, he hasn't seen any of his sweeps weeks. There we go. There's the first one, but he's only getting $2 off it.
Oh, Tree's
only got 3 cards in his hand.
Ugh.
So, I mean, if he had a way of tagging him right now in another scorch, that'd be the game, but there's not a lot of ways to give a runner a tag just for doing nothing, so...
See, he has 2 agendas in his hand.
He can't install them, though.
I know he can't.
You know, without knowing what's protecting HQ, it's hard to decide whether he's better off just spending every turn clicking for credits until he has enough dollars to start resing ice again, or, you know, if he just keeps digging for something that he's looking for. Tree's got a Dirty Laundry in his hand. So, there you go. So now we see the Plascrete come out. So at this point, Josh is not going to win the Scorch game. He would have to draw into the other 2 Scorches in his deck and be able to still consistently tag and then double Scorch him. And you just have to start looking for a different play at this point.
Yeah, Tree now just needs to keep his hand size to 5 and he's good.
Josh could be running interns, you know. Maybe he can go back and get those Scorches back out of his, you know, his archives. But otherwise...
But interns installs it, so I don't think he can get the Scorch.
Oh, does interns install?
Yeah.
I never play with it, so I just know it's one of those cards that lets you get cards back, so... So now we see him installing and advancing something. It may be an agenda. He could very well have another C-Source or a mid-seasons in his hand, and he's trying to bait Tree into running and stealing something so he can land some tags on him again. It's a common tactic that I use with my MBN deck.
Dirty Laundry?
Yeah. Might as well. If you're going to make the run, you might as well Dirty Laundry it.
Again, guys, sorry for the glare. Can't give it to him.
I mean,
make him pay.
There you go. So that's a market research. And then he's going to take the credits from Dirty Laundry. So now here's the question. Does he have a mid-seasons in his hand? But even if he does, I don't think he can out-credit Mike. But at the same time, it can be kind of a tempo play where he's going to make Mike burn a bunch of credits to avoid the tags. Because otherwise, I don't know why you would feed him that agenda. Yeah, I think Josh knows this game's kind of... Without some type of Hail Mary, I think he realizes he's just done. He's going to keep digging for something, but I don't know if he's going to find what he's looking for.
He needs to start making him taxing him. That's the only way he could maybe squeeze some agenda out.
Well, you know, I'm guilty of this too sometimes in my MBN deck. Sometimes you get so focused on the tag and bag type style that you lose track of the other ways you can play and win the game. And I don't know if maybe he's just still consistently trying to dig for some combo to do those tag and bag kind of style things. But, yep, there you see he pulls a Beal off the top.
Sees a wraparound.
Which is just completely garbage at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, with Corroder installed, wraparound's just not going to matter. I mean, unfortunately, even if he could res a flare right now, it might change the tide of the game for him. If he can bait Tree into hitting a flare. But other than that...
Flare's what, 6?
Yeah,
6?
but Tree doesn't have enough credits to break it right now. So if he hit it, he wouldn't be able to break it, and the trace would fire...
What's the strength on...
3.
3?
Yeah.
So it's a
well,
5.
with Dinosaurus, it's a 5.
So he can't break it.
Yeah, so he wouldn't be able to actually break the flare. He would fire the trace. He would successfully complete the trace. Then he could trash, you know, the Magnum Opus and the Mimic maybe, or the Corroder. And he would then have a chance to kind of get back into this game. But you can see he just doesn't have enough credits to even res a flare at this point. So
I see source and close the count?
Yep. Again, you know, with Opus on the board, closing accounts just isn't... You're costing the runner a turn, and that's it. And unfortunately, a turn is not going to change the course of this game.
And I know Josh runs flare. I have hit it
I have
several
too.
times.
I was very surprised when I hit it the last time too. I was like, nobody runs flares. I mean, nobody's ran those since they came out. But he guessed well that they would fit in the current game state. So you can see he sweeps again, but man, Tree's playing smart. He's only keeping 4 cards in his hand at a time. And those sweeps, you know, when you're only getting 3 instead of $4 off them, they're not as good. You know, they're nice, but you know, Tree's making more money than the Corp can every turn just by spending a single click. Well, there's the other Scorch. So now the question is, does he have 1 in hand still, and there's 1 on the top of the deck, or not? And does he have a way to tag him? So there we see a hedge fund. He's got enough money to do it. It's just the question of, does he have the other Scorch in his hand? But you see, this also forces Tree to play at 4+ cards now. He can never go down below 4 if he thinks for a second that Josh has both Scorches. Or even has some way of getting the 1 in archives back.
I see another one in his hand.
So
he hasn't drawn this. There's another one on top of his deck.
So Josh has the classic problem that I had for a while until just recently, where he has, it looks like 2 of the alt art Scorched Earths and 1 of the regular ones. And as we've all learned, those alt art cards, while they're fantastic looking, if you're playing multiple copies in a deck, you never want your opponent to know how many you have in your hand. So when you have that,
oh, there's the
flare. So you have that alt art version in your hand, and then the regular alt version. Now the runner knows if he sees both that you have 2. Versus if you had all 3 of the same type, then he may just be pulling the same one over and over again. And now we see another Data Raven come up. So now you know Josh is looking for that tag.
Yeah, that's a strategy that a lot of Magic players use a lot. If, like in lands, they always have all 20 lands the same art.
So Tree sees the first Scorch there. So he knows that the one is either that's the one that he drew, and there's the other Plascrete. So I think this game is over for Josh. I mean, you would need... what is a power shutdown at this point to even get rid of 1 of those? You would need some way of playing like Archive Memories to get back another Scorch out of your discard pile. I mean, I think he's kind of stuck at this point. Yeah, you can see he's got 2 in his hand.
The only is face planting the flare, but...
See, I almost feel like at this point too, maybe you do double Scorch to scare Tree into thinking that I have some way of getting another one. Oh, and there's an account siphon.
Tree already has a flat tag, so he's just floating tags now.
Yeah, well, with 2 Plascretes, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You know? But again, you know, you play the double Scorch now, you burn down both Plascretes. I seriously doubt Tree's running 3. Maybe he is, but, you know, that'd be very odd for most decks these days. And then bait him into thinking that you have Archive Memories in there, because we haven't seen any real influence other than Scorch played so far. You know, make him think you have some way of going to get one of those Scorches out of your archives and then, you know, playing it on him again. And, you know, if nothing else, it's a good psychological play.
So, from now on, Tree's just going to float the tags, so...
Yeah,
those Data Ravens are dead.
Yeah, closed accounts doesn't do anything anymore at this point, you know. It's kind of a... You know, why do I care that I'm tagged?
He already played 2, so he still has 1 left if he plays all 3.
It will be interesting to see in the next cycle that's coming up, you know, the lunar cycle, if we're going to see more tag punishment coming out. It'd be interesting to see more ways for to encourage the runner not to float tags, even though they are getting a new card that completely drops all of their tags.
But because of that card, I think there might be other.
I think we'll see some more brutal forms of tag punishment. Some of the new currents, I would love to see have some tag interaction on them. You know, if the runner's tagged, you know, maybe they can't install icebreakers or something. You know, it'd be interesting to see.
I'm very excited about that cycle.
So here we go. He's now just going to start running. There's no reason not to at this point. He's completely safe. Another flare. See, I almost think if I'm Tree at this point, I just run his hand. I mean, I know you're seeing 2 in R&D, but there has to be agendas in his hand. And here we go. Classic play, same old thing, account siphon. You know, what are you going to do at this point? You just lose the credits, he doesn't care about the tags, and there you go.
So yeah, I think you're right. This should be hitting his hand.
Because we know he's holding agendas. And the other problem is Tree's also doing something that's kind of surprising for him. He's not hitting archives. We know Josh has had to have drawn agendas at this point. And we've only seen 1 installed, which means they're either in his hand or they're in archives. And unless you face check that archives and find out, you know, it makes it hard. So
I'm curious, what is he digging for?
You know, I don't know. More economy cards. If you're going to run, you might as well get credits for doing it, right?
Yeah, but he has control of the board.
Yeah, you know, he can consistently just pound his hand every turn, which maybe would be a better option.
I don't know.
You know, click 1, you run R&D just to see what those top 2 cards are, and then the next 3 clicks you just keep hitting headquarters until you find that agenda. But I think, you know, again, I think maybe he was digging for that levy he just drew into, or that same old thing, so he can just pound another account siphon down. So, you know, it's a tough call. You know, I really think Josh is kind of, you know, just stuck at this point. Yep, see, there we go. So now just hit that hand. There you go. So
look at that.
Yep. See, had he just ran that hand, he would have had it.
Yep.
All right, guys, so that was the end of the first round here. So looks like Mike swept the round there. You know, unfortunately, once you see Magnum Opus hit the board and you're playing a tag and bag deck, if you can't keep up with those account siphons like that, you're just kind of stuck.
Yep. So, guys, see you in the next one.